Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take my cosine of pi over 12. We're trying to find cosine of a non-unit circle value. So we're going to create an expanded version of two angles that come from the unit circle that will either add or subtract to give me pi over 12. So when we simplify them, they have to be pi over 6, pi over 3, pi over 4, pi over 2, or pi, and we can either add or subtract. So because I have one pi in my numerator, I'm going to do subtraction. So we're going to be doing the difference of two angles right here. I'm going to put my denominators, we've got 12 and 12, and I'm trying to find two numbers that when subtracted will give me 1. So we could pick any two, but if I keep them as low as possible, chances are they're going to be unit circle values. So if I tried 3 pi over 12 minus 2 pi over 12, that would give me 1 pi over 12. Just make sure that these are both unit circle values when simplified. So 3 pi over 12 could be pi over 4, there we go, that's 1. 2 pi over 12 is pi over 6. So both of these two are able to be simplified into unit circle values. I'm good to move forward. So if you look at your formulas, we're going to do the difference formula for cosine. So we know by the definition that the difference of two angles is going to be cosine of my first times cosine of my second, plus, because my signs are different for cosine, sine of my first, whoops, that should be a s, times sine of my second angle. So from this problem, I'm going to make pi over 4a, pi over 6b. So we're going to do cosine of pi over 4 times cosine of pi over 6, plus, because we're subtracting, sine of pi over 4 times sine of pi over 6. And all we need to do from here is actually say what is cosine of pi over 4. So this is unit circle value. So with my cosine of pi over 4, I know that's going to be positive radical 2 over 2. Cosine of pi over 6 is going to be radical 3 over 2, and those are being multiplied together. We're going to add to that sine of pi over 4, which is again radical 2 over 2. Sine of pi over 6 gives me, oops, that should be 1 over 2. When you're multiplying numerators with numerators, so radical 2 times radical 3 is radical 6. 2 times 2 gives me 4, plus radical 2 over 4. We can simplify that to just be radical 6 plus radical 2 over 4.